Okay guys, welcome back to my channel, Vlogmas Day 4. No one told me how hardcore Vlogmas was, let alone people who vlog every day. It's super time consuming. It's been really fun, don't get me wrong. It's tough when you're recording all day and then you don't get home till 7 and it takes you a few hours to upload. Like last night, I don't think my video got up until 10:30, but shout out to those of you that have watched it. I think it's my favorite so far. If you haven't checked it out, it's Vlogmas Day 3, Frosty's Winter Wonderland. And it's so cute, especially if you're not able to get out to see any Christmas lights this year. I think you would absolutely love it. Also, it is day 4 of my slow decline into death. No, I'm being dramatic, but I feel like absolute crap, you guys. I am freezing, I am totally congested. I was up all night coughing, but the show must go on, so I have a list of errands that I need to run today. I'm probably gonna put quite a bit of those off until tomorrow, if I'm being completely honest. If you're wondering why I'm not turning around to see where I'm going, it's because I have a backup camera. I am going to do 2 errands right now, and then when Zach gets home from work, we might end up going to run a couple more, just depending on how we feel, because he's not feeling too good either. But right now I'm headed to Starbucks and I'm gonna go grab a cold buster tea, either a cold buster or a medicine ball. And if you haven't had those before, when you're feeling sick, they're the perfect tea. So I want to say that it's mint tea mixed with steamed lemonade and honey. I will insert the actual recipe for it below in case you ever want to try it. I had heard Alex Garza mention it on a vlog a couple years ago when she was feeling sick, and so I started getting them as well when I wasn't feeling good. Also, it's like 50 degrees right now and I am freezing, so I'm pretty sure I have a temperature, but I have my seat warmer on high and the heat is on, so I'm just trying to make it through the day. But we're gonna go to Starbucks and get a cold buster. Then we're gonna go get a car wash because our Christmas guest gets in tomorrow and I'm so excited to see this person. I saw this person last month for a hot second, but I haven't actually spent time with them like one-on-one in about a year. So it's gonna be really fun. We have lots of awesome things planned. Tomorrow is the last day of Vlogmas for me, but I might end up just compiling a bunch of footage and sharing that with you guys. So let me know below if you'd want to see that. But you might want to see who it is first. So this person will be in tomorrow's vlog. So anyways, fortunately for me, I have a Starbucks like 3 blocks away. So I'm gonna pull in there, grab my medicine ball, go to the car wash, at least vacuum my car because I just want to make sure that it's nice and clean since we're probably going to be running around all week.
I'll leave you in just a second.
Okay, no problem.
So sorry, what can I get for you?
No worries at all. May I please have a grande medicine ball?
Grande medicine ball? Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right, I will see you up here.
Thank you. Here we go. We're moving, we're moving. Hi, good morning.
Did you want your receipt?
No, thank you. Brightness, maybe?
Could be it. There we go.
Thank you so much. You too, thank you. Thank goodness for tea when you're sick. Okay, now we head to the car wash. Okay, car wash complete, and it's starting to drizzle, but I still need to vacuum, so I need to hustle up, so here we go. Okay guys, we made it home. We've got our hot medicine ball tea. Bob's chilling on the couch, and we're gonna run through and wrap some of these gifts really quickly. But in order to keep you guys entertained, I figured I'd answer some questions for you that you all have for me, so you can get to know me a little bit better. And hopefully I stop with the obnoxious sniffling during this, but no promises. So the first question I had was, did you grow up in Utah? And the answer is no. I did not grow up in Utah. I actually grew up in Illinois. I grew up in a suburb of Chicago. about 20 minutes west of Chicago actually, and lived there most of my life. I moved when I was 22. So I moved when I was 22. Oh, Zach's calling, 1 second. Okay, so anyways, I moved when I was 22, and I moved to a place called Chandler, Arizona, which is a suburb of Phoenix, Arizona, actually. And I lived there for about 9 months, and then moved here to Salt Lake City. And I loved Arizona a lot. It was quite the extreme moving from Chicago, one of the coldest places I think in the US, to Arizona, one of the hottest. But it was time well spent, and then I fell in love with Utah. I've been here for quite a while now, and I absolutely love it. And I hope that this is home. I mean, bought a house here, so plan to stick around for a while. Okay, next question is, tell us about Bob. So, Bob is 3 years old. He was, okay, so I guess I need to rewind. We had a barbecue here, and our friend brought his son over. And his son has pretty severe diabetes, so he's got a service dog. And his service dog was a Catahoula. It was the most well-behaved, beautiful, brilliant dog that Zach and I had ever interacted with. And so at the time we were interested in starting to talk about getting our own dog. And so we were learning more about the breed, and the more we read, the more interested we were in getting a Catahoula. So we started looking. This is terrible because I am so much a proponent of adopt, don't shop, but at the time we had started looking on like KSL Classifieds to try to find a Catahoula, and we thought we wanted a purebred, and that's why we were kind of going that route, like kind of going to see if we could find a breeder. Yeah, I just ripped that, it's fine. But the more we looked into it, the more interested I became in, I have an affinity for black labs. My ex and I, he had a black lab, and I absolutely loved that dog. And so I already had this big love for black labs, and the more research I did, the more I learned that black lab Catahoula mix was kind of the route that I wanted to go, just because they were super family friendly, but still very smart, high energy dogs. And at the time I was still running a ton too, and so I thought it'd be a really good running partner. So anyways, we started looking for Catahoula black lab mixes. So this was right around the time that I started seeing announcements for like this really big pet adoption here in Utah. And I convinced Zach to come with me just to go look, right? I mean, and at this time we didn't have any grass in our yard whatsoever. The previous owners here had a ton of gravel in the front yard and also in the back. So we knew that even if we fell in love with a dog there, that we wouldn't be able to bring him home because we couldn't give him a proper yard, you know, to grow up in. Well, little did we know, we went to this pet adoption, and as soon as we walk in, I'm not joking you guys, the first dog, he was like in one of the first cages that we saw. I locked eyes with him, and it was Bob. And so we go up and I look, and I swear it was fate, you guys. Bob is a Catahoula black lab mix. I was like, oh my gosh, like what are the odds? And I'm not kidding when I said he was the first dog that I saw, and like we literally locked eyes. I'm like, we have to walk him, like at least let's just meet him, let's just meet him. And so convinced Zach to let me ask the people to bring him out of his kennel so we can meet him. And Bob was the most stubborn and hard-headed dog I'd ever met. We walked him over to this little kind of play area where you can meet and greet the dogs. He would not listen to save his life. We tried to do sit, shake. They told us, so he was 7 months when we met him. They said that he was potty trained and knew a couple of tricks, but I mean, I tried everything to get him to do sit, like, you know, just all the basics, sit, stay, up, down, shake, all that stuff. He didn't do anything. And honestly, he like was kind of indifferent, didn't really want anything to do with us after we let him off his leash in his little play area. He kind of just went and sniffed around and did his own thing. So just kind of felt like maybe he wasn't the right dog for us. So we spent the next hour kind of walking around, just getting to know a few of the other dogs. I think we even ended up bringing like 1 or 2 more dogs out of their kennels to meet them. But something in me was like, I really want to spend a little bit more time with Bob. So we went and grabbed him again, and I asked one of the volunteers if they had any treats, and sure enough she did. And so I had a couple treats in my hand and tried running through the tricks again with Bob. Sure enough, he knew every single, I think when we met him that day, once we had treats, he's very food motivated, we learned. He knew sit, he knew shake, he knew down, he knew up. Super smart, listened, very attentive and alert. So that's the day we learned that Bob was very food motivated. Anyways, we spent a little bit more time with him. After we kind of bonded with him with the tricks and the treats, he seemed to warm up to us immensely. And I fell in love, and we left, and we're like, well, what are we gonna do? Zach wasn't necessarily sold quite yet, but I mean, I was in love, and I would not stop talking about him. And finally, like, I kind of convinced Zach. I was like, well, let's put in a yard, and if he's still available in a day or two, it was meant to be. So we go home. By the time we get home, it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon that day. Okay guys, sorry, my battery died. So like I was saying, it was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon that day, and I convinced Zach to go with me to Best Buy and buy some sod and everything we needed, and we laid sod and completely transformed our backyard like all in one day. I mean, it took us probably 6 or 7 hours. It wasn't a gigantic space, but it was something to start with. It was a little yard that we could give to a dog. And after we finished that, I think the next day I contacted the rescue that Bob was from, and they said sure enough they still had him and that we could go get him that next weekend. So we drove out that next weekend and got our Bobo. Something else interesting to note, Bob was kind of like born into the system. So his mom was a stray, and she was found down on a reservation in New Mexico. This older gentleman had been feeding a whole bunch of stray dogs and just kind of looking after them. And when he passed away, the dogs would still come, but there was nobody there to take care of them. And so the rescue went and adopted all these dogs, and Bob was born into the rescue. Well, Bob was also adopted out. I think he was, how old were you? You were a puppy. You were probably like 12 weeks old. So he was adopted out to a family that had another dog, and that dog unfortunately was super sick and dying of cancer, and so they just didn't have the time and energy to devote to Bob, so they ended up giving him back to the rescue. And so this is kind of why Bob has pretty bad separation anxiety, I think. I mean, he was given back once. I think he's so scared of not having a forever home, but you're in your forever home now. I love you. So you can see he's very needy, but he's the sweetest dog I've ever owned. So, all right, that was a very long-winded story, but on to the next question. Have you ever gotten arrested? Good one. Okay, so officially, no, I've never been arrested. I don't have any misdemeanors. I don't have any felonies or anything like that. But when I was in high school, I had a pretty rowdy boyfriend. Shh, Bob. Sorry, I don't know what's outside. So when I was in high school, I had a pretty rowdy boyfriend who would get in fights all the time. And he got into this one pretty bad fight with a bunch of his friends versus a bunch of like one of my best friend's ex-boyfriends. Anyways, very long story, but I want to say that there's probably 10 people involved in this fight, and a whole bunch of them got charged with, I want to say mob action, because there was like weapons involved, like not guns or anything like that, but baseball bats and crazy stuff. But I just happened to be there, so it's kind of like a wrong place at the wrong time type of thing. So I did have to go to the police station for that, but fortunately I did not get in any trouble, thank goodness, knock on wood. And then the only other thing was when I was 20, 2 months out from my 21st birthday, I was at a party I had a few adult beverages and the police came, and a couple of us got drinking tickets. So, do you have any tattoos or piercings? I do. Technically, I have 3 tattoos. The first one I got a matching heart tattooed on my hip when I was 18. So funny story about that one. Me and Mandy, we were about to graduate high school, and we both had kind of later birthdays, so we were still 18. But my mom took us to Wisconsin Dells, and she was going off to go to dinner with my aunt, and I said, well, can me and Mandy go walk the strip? And she gave us permission. Yeah, go ahead. Well, we come to find out that you only have to be 18 in Wisconsin to get a tattoo. So right before dinner, we wham bam, thank you ma'am, and got matching heart tattoos on our hips. And then also when I turned 19 in Illinois, I got TWLOHA tattooed on my wrist, and that stands for To Write Love on Her Arms. And it was a nonprofit that I did some work for that I still fully support and love and adore to this day. In fact, I will link their information below. And then my third and last tattoo, I have the Chicago skyline tattooed on my foot, and I also got that tattoo with my best friend Mandy. She got a matching skyline tattooed on her ankle, and I want to say we got those 2 or 3 years ago, right around Christmas time. So, and then as far as piercings go, I've got my ears pierced. When I was in my teens, I had my tongue pierced. What else? Oh, and I've got my belly button pierced. All right, last question. How did you meet Zach? So I actually met Zach at the gym just over 4 years ago. I was going through kind of a bad breakup at the time, and so I really got into weightlifting and running, and I was just really into fitness at the time. And so I would go to Vaza with my girlfriend AK, and one day we were on the ellipticals, and she's so friendly. She's friends with everyone. She's like the sweetest, but she would always introduce me to people. And we were on the elliptical one day, and Zach came up to say hi to her, and she introduced us, and I thought he was kind of cute, so I added him on Facebook. Wait, no, I didn't add him on Facebook yet. I met him, and then like a week later I added him on Facebook, and he slid into my DMs, and then the rest is history. But funny enough, I guess like a couple days after I met him that first time, we ran into each other again at the gym. I guess I was coming in and he was going out, and he was holding the door for me, but my head was down, and I didn't even notice that it was him. And so he said that I just kind of blew past him, and so he didn't think I was interested until a few days later when I had added him on Facebook. So yeah, that's kind of short and sweet, but that's it. And we're going on 4-ish years strong. We had like a short break in the beginning, but things are good. And yeah, so there's 5 things you might not have known about me. I'm gonna finish wrapping. Sorry that this was maybe a little bit more of a mellow Vlogmas, but as you guys know, I'm not feeling good, so want to kind of get this done a little bit early today so I can just relax the rest of the afternoon, because I'm gonna have a super busy day tomorrow. But alright guys, well, thanks for coming by. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe. We're getting really close. I'm at 385, so we're 15 away from that 400. So please, if you're watching this and you haven't yet, please subscribe. Drop me a comment below letting me know if you've finished your Christmas shopping or not, and if you still need to wrap, because I do. Alright, bye guys, we'll see you later.